What happens when a private innovator gets too close? How many innovators need to go missing? Today we're going to take a look at the Cook inertial system and wonder what happened. I am Brian St. Clair of StClairtech R&D, and today we're taking a look at the works of Robert Cook Sr. and Robert Cook Jr. Robert Sr. was an innovator who developed a system of mass transfer within a rotating assembly that actually generated demonstrable linear movement, thrust. He kept working at it to perfect his system and came up with a novel way to transfer a mass from one rotating assembly to another. The story of Bob Cook Sr. is long, twisted, convoluted, and absolutely riddled with genius and hard work. It's also riddled with mystery and intrigue. In the late 1960s, Bob Cook built his first demonstrable inertial propulsion device, called the CC1, which stood for the Cook Coriolis Drive version 1. It worked, and it was a simple proof of principle engine that was noisy and very inefficient, but it jerked along and propelled itself forward. Cook was convinced that the answer was in taking advantage of the Coriolis effect generated with a rotating structure, and it could be made more efficient by the engineering of it around this effect. That same year, 1969, he built the CC2 with multiple rotating assemblies. And he quickly found out some of the same things that we've been learning here about adding components to increase power and smooth out the operation. And that is the fact that simply adding on doesn't solve the inherent problems in a design. So, in 1970, he built a two-rotor CC3. This worked well enough that Bob contacted a patent attorney. He filed for his first patent in 1971. He had designed a massively complex 8-rotor engine, the CC4. But despite its complex engineering and precision building techniques, it actually performed very poorly. And that design was ultimately scrapped. Later in 71, he built the redesigned CC5. The CC5 worked better than any of his previous designs. This design was promoted in newspapers and magazines. It was actually viewed by many engineers and scholars at different institutions around the United States and abroad. It was also viewed by many companies, both in and outside the United States, as were some of his earlier works. Bob spent a week at the American Airlines laboratory demonstrating and allowing lab testing of his CC3. In 1974, he was back at the American Airlines lab. This time testing and critique went on for 2 full weeks. He ended up with positive test results. Convinced he was on the right track, he continued on, fabricating components and building better and stronger and more professional machinery. The professionally built CC6 was able to propel itself across a frozen skating rink, dragging Bob along with it. This powerful CC6 was the last of the CC series, as Bob finally understood what he thought needed to be done by harnessing the Coriolis effect separately from the centrifugal effect. The CIP1 is the first to utilize a new concept which eliminated the use of centrifugal force to aid in propulsion and only utilized the Coriolis effect to create linear thrust. This design uniquely transferred a physical mass from one assembly to the other. It capitalized on the reversal of direction and the amplification of the Coriolis effect. The centrifugal forces were actually dampened in this design as an unwanted force. In June of 1980, Bob put this on a boat in a pool. His wife was in the pool and intended to steer the boat, just in case anything got out of control. The CIP-1 was switched on, and the boat actually dragged his wife through the water and was accelerating the whole time. I wish we had a video of that. It was a true success. Bob tried to build a business around this technology. He started building and setting up shop to produce and sell his CIP technology. Bob got some investors, and things were looking good until one of his investors embezzled the majority of the funds collected and escaped to Canada. This crushed the company, and it stalled all the progress on the CIP. Bob continued building and experimenting, but the betrayal left him with a sense of emptiness that sort of took the wind out of his sails, so to speak. The project nearly stalled, but family kept him going. In 1989, Bob's son, Robert Cook Jr., or Rob, as he liked to be called, worked with him to develop the CIP-0 machine that Rob and his brothers actually rode on as it propelled across the workshop floor. Early on, Rob had gone his own way with a personal goal of being a writer. Rob kind of figured that he could do best to help his father by writing copy for his dad's inventions, maybe making commercials and things like that. But by 2004, Rob had become very concerned about his father's deteriorating health. Rob didn't want his father's dream to simply become a distant memory, so Rob worked directly with him to come up with an improved version of the CID. It worked so well that to differentiate it from his father's work, Rob called it the C-Force. Robert Sr. and Jr. both felt that this updated design could be better than ever. In June 2005, Rob and some of his friends pooled all of their resources and incorporated C-Force Incorporated. Over the next 2 years, Rob designed and built C-Force 1. It was a 4-rotor prototype that could be upgraded to up to 8 rotors. And it was designed to generate over 200 pounds of propulsive force. By March 2007, the first successful exchanges were made, but funds ran out before the final modifications to make the model propel were completed. The C-Force project ground to a halt, and in the midst of this, Bob's health began to deteriorate rapidly. And very sadly, on the afternoon of September 8th, 2008, Bob, Robert Cook Sr., passed away in Bakersfield, California. He was 74 years old. In a 2020 interview with Tim Ventura, Rob said that he was waiting for the final part to come back from the machine shop. But shortly after that, he suddenly stopped all updates and all public appearances. According to an acquaintance of Rob's, who I spoke with directly, he apparently passed, as his father, from non-natural causes. Rumors were flying, but I really do not wish to perpetuate unsubstantiated rumors. Regardless, we are now without Robert Cook Sr. and Robert Cook Jr., both dealing a devastating blow to the inertial propulsion field of study. I guess my question would be, how many innovators must either pass away or simply disappear before we all get together and share this critical technology and information to keep it relevant? There are always going to be those who claim that we are all being fooled. But some of us know for certain, myself included, that inertial propulsion is real. For more information about Cook's work, click the link below. Remember, I want to help you succeed. And part of this is that I am entering more information, free information, into that private information library called the Vault. A link to the Vault is below. I have been pleasantly surprised by the number of downloads from this private vault, so it will keep expanding. It is still free, but I have had to make it a bit more exclusive due to security issues like multiple visits from what I think were bots. So even though I have had to add an extra security layer, it's still free and private. If you like these videos or appreciate the information I am bringing to you, please use the like button below and subscribe to keep up to date with the videos as they come out. So until next time, stay curious and be good to each other. And please, by all means, be good to yourself. Brian out.